Hello everyone, Denise here. I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to let you know that I have a Rumble account now, and from this point on, I will be posting my videos there as well. I did get a strike last week, Bible study I had posted. If you are interested in viewing that video, I'll leave the direct link in my description box. Or you can just go to Denise Kendrick 68 on Rumble. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. And one thing I mentioned in this video that they took down was about how I wanted to see my sister. I really wanted to see her last month when my son Zach and I took a very long trip from North Dakota to Vancouver, Washington on the train. And then I was going to go and take a 2-hour drive to visit my sister I haven't seen in several years. So I was looking forward to that. Had a bunch of stuff I wanted to give her and just, see her. I was really looking forward to that. But they had a little bit of snow in Vancouver, and anyway... And then there was like some semi blocking the road. So since I was borrowing a vehicle from someone that didn't really feel comfortable with me driving in the snow, and then of course there was a semi my sister had told me we wouldn't have made it anyway, I realized because just the way God I realized that if it was meant to be, I mentioned in my video that I believe God said no for whatever reason. He sees the road ahead, and I don't know why, but I just know it didn't happen. And then I thought later, how it did happen a few years ago when there was much more snow and ice, and my van, I have a different vehicle now, but the van that I was driving, ended up with a busted axle, but not till after the trip was over. So here I am driving in much worse weather than just last month would have been, and because it was meant to be. The visit did not go well at all. The visit, it wasn't meant to be for a good, happy visit. That did not happen, unfortunately. But I pray for my daughter every day. She is my daughter, and what mother wouldn't, that, you love your child, why wouldn't I pray for her and want her to know the truth? So God knows the heart, and it was meant for me to be there, and if I never would have went, this book never would have been written, okay? And I wouldn't have had a reason to write it had she just listened and, to my side of the story, if we could have just had that time together. Anyway, so I want to share, because I did publish this thing about my van in the book, so I just wanted to share real quick, because this is just amazing. I think about, how God has worked in my life, and just the, things that happen, the enemy, he doesn't want, anything, any child of God, to have anything, that God, he doesn't want God's plans to come forth, okay? But it's just amazing. So I'm going to read this. Okay, so the next morning, okay, this is the next morning, after the next day after I had seen my daughter just the day before. So we're back in Vancouver now, my son and I. I drove to Dan's shop. Dan is Zach's father. Okay, so he wasn't there yet, and the gate was locked to his parking lot, so I parked next door at the Chevron store gas station and waited. Soon I noticed one of Dan's employees arrive and open the gate, so I started up the van and began to pull over around the corner to make it to his parking lot. Just before making that sharp turn and inches from a busy street, the van completely stopped and wasn't going any further. All it did was make a very loud grinding sound every time I tried. So Dan's worker came over and looked underneath my van, then noticed I had a busted axle, completely busted in half. I know it was only by the grace of God I made it there safely, not to mention that trip to see you. That trip to see you, I am speaking to my daughter in this book. So Dan finally arrives. He's not happy at all. We had to get it moved off the parking lot there at the store. Couldn't have it towed with a rope. Would have needed a special tow up onto a truck. Very expensive. With no other choice, Dan then called his mobile mechanic, who did come, even though he had plans that day, as did Dan. And so, on a solid sheet of ice, inches from a very busy street, the mechanic fixed that axle for me. Dan has helped me out through many situations. While the van was being repaired, Dan offered to buy me something to drink from the little store there. So we walked into the store. He paid for his drink. Then the checkout lady, whom I didn't know at all, told Dan not to worry about paying for mine. I knew that was God reminding me of his presence. He does that on occasion, and usually through other people. What a joy it is to know God is here and does not allow my problems to defeat or destroy me. Many times in my distresses I would assume I was alone. Yet God's always been there for me, as I know he is with you too. Speaking again to my daughter, answering my cries for help every single time. No situation is too tough for him to handle. He's God, and he's a good God, and I know he's got my back. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. So if you do view the video, just kind of keep that in mind. I mean, if it was meant to happen, it would have happened. And I mean, I wanted it to. I remember a couple moments, thinking, why did you come here where God delivered you from? Why did you come back? I mean, the whole trip was a frickin' disaster. I mean, Zach did get to see his dad, and we all had a nice visit together, and with Debbie, his girlfriend, and they treated us very nice, treated me very kindly, and Dan let me borrow his nicest vehicle during the week we were there. I mean, I guess it's important for Zach to see his father. Very important, he hadn't seen him since we moved here back in April. But anyway, I'm going to share, when I wrote the book, I didn't realize I was writing a book, okay? I was kind of writing a journal for my daughter, and, I ended up mailing it to her, and then it just, kind of through the grapevine, I found out I was basically being mocked and kind of laughed at, and it hurt. I know she's been through a lot, and just a lot of manipulation going on, and the hand that rocks the cradle really does rule the world. And unfortunately, my daughter was taken, deliberately. You can go down to my very first video. It's a little lengthy. It's the longest video I've made, but I reveal proof of all that, how she was deliberately taken, and all contact was deliberately cut off, and they had no right, these people had no right to do that at all. I love my daughter, and I always will, and so I'm going to share I didn't know I was writing a book when I was writing a book, because I wrote a journal, and then God put it in my heart, you've already written it all down, just get it published, and even sent me a publisher. So I know it's not very popular, but I'm in pretty good company. Okay, this book isn't very popular either. All right, look at how many views I get. All I try to do is share the gospel, which means good news. There is good news, and there wouldn't be good news unless there was bad news, and just look around. So that's my goal. My mission here is to share, when I come on, is to share the truth, share my testimonies, and share the gospel of Jesus Christ, and it hopefully give you some hope. It gives me hope whenever I come on, because then I remember things, and I just love God's word, and he's always been there for me. And anyway, about the author. Seeing my daughter for the first time in 20 years is what inspired me to write this book. I wish I could say it was a happy, tearful reunion, but it wasn't that way at all. Her eyes were so full of anger, pain, confusion, lies, ridicule, and hatred towards me. I wanted so much to somehow explain it all to her, but how could I? After all, here we are, surrounded by everything I saw in her eyes. Okay, basically my family. The most important thing I have ever wanted my daughter to know is the truth. So help me God, she will, even if that means writing a book. Okay, and so that's that trip, I know was meant to happen because this happened. Okay, so God does work. He is a mysterious God. He works in mysterious ways, and I have no reason to lie. I'm just sharing my story, with everyone. So if you do go and view that video on Rumble, just kind of keep in mind that the trip did happen a few years back prior to writing this book. I started writing right away when Zach and I came home. It was published, that year. And so anyway, I just wanted to point that out. So God bless everyone. Take care, and until the next video.